Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to plunge into some really fascinating topics and, well, pull out the best insights from the sources we've gathered.
That's the plan.
And today, we're doing something pretty unique, I think. We're exploring this idea of a subpersonality, but through a really surprising lens, specific body parts.
Right. Sounds a bit strange at first, but it's quite compelling when you get into it.
Exactly. Our whole deep dive today is based on this set of notes, Kenny's Body Parts Research Notes.
Kenny, yeah.
And it's like, imagine getting to know someone, or maybe just one facet of their character, by looking at the actual anatomy linked to them.
And when we say subpersonality, just to clarify for everyone, think of it like a specific role you play internally.
Right, like a consistent pattern of thinking, feeling, behaving that kind of pops up in certain situations.
Like having different specialists on your internal team.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So our mission today is to figure out how 4 different parts of the body, the nose, the lungs, the temporal lobe, and the cell membrane, how each of these can embody a facet of this complex subpersonality named Kenny. We want to pull out the key stuff from these notes to understand not just what Kenny is, but why he is the way he is, through these biological and, well, symbolic connections.
It's a really clever framework. It pushes us to connect the concrete, the biological functions with these much more abstract, maybe elusive layers of our inner selves, finding a hidden map to Kenny's character, basically, right there in the body.
A hidden map. I like that. Okay, let's start mapping then, straight to the face. The nose.
The nose, okay.
Now, you probably think, okay, smelling, that's its job.
Mostly, yeah.
But these notes, they show way more. Scientifically, sure, smelling is key, but it's also a super sophisticated system for breathing.
Absolutely critical.
Filtering the air, humidifying it before it even gets to your lungs. And, get this, it even affects how your voice sounds. Vocal resonance.
Didn't think about that connection.
And anatomically. You've got bone, cartilage, these things called turbinates inside. And it all leads to the olfactory bulb. That's the brain's direct link to smell. What's really interesting, though, is how human noses, well, our sense of smell isn't as powerful as a dog's, obviously.
Yeah, not even close.
But our noses evolved to be incredibly expressive. Think about it, wrinkling your nose, flaring your nostrils.
Social signaling.
Exactly, social signals, modulating speech. And that powerful link you mentioned, smell, memory, emotion, via the limbic system.
Yeah.
It means one little smell can just, boom, take you back years.
It's really striking how this seemingly simple organ is so deeply woven into our experience, not just physical, but emotional, social.
Totally.
So given all that function, all that symbolic weight, how does the nose help us pin down Kenny?
Right, that's where the notes get really interesting. Beyond the biology, the nose is just dripping with symbolism.
Okay.
It's about intuition, follow your nose.
Right.
Judgment, something smells fishy. Discernment, that's a big one for Kenny.
Discernment, right. Makes sense.
And all those idioms. Stick your nose where it doesn't belong, nose to the grindstone for hard work, sniff out the truth. Or looking down your nose at someone that speaks volumes about judgment.
It really does.
The nose even shapes how we see faces, right? Facial harmony, people get rhinoplasty, nose jobs, or piercings culturally.
Yeah.
And think of famous noses in stories, Cyrano, Pinocchio, Proust's Madeline moment, where that scent unlocks everything.
A classic example of smell as a narrative trigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's really cool is how the notes connect all these threads, the biology, the idioms, the stories, back to Kenny as this symbol of discernment and integrity.
Yeah, that clicks. Imagine Kenny as like a living sensor. He's constantly scanning the environment, picking up on social cues, moral signals, things other people might just miss entirely.
Totally oblivious.
He's just tuned into subtle shifts in systems, communities, ethics. He knows instinctively when something just doesn't smell right.
Yeah.
That strong sense of judgment, that inner compass that doesn't waver, it lines up perfectly with the nose's symbolic job.
Okay, so from the face, let's move inside to the lungs. Another vital organ, obviously, but also packed with symbolic meaning.
The breath of life, literally.
Literally.
Yeah.
Scientifically, their main gig is gas exchange, getting oxygen into the blood, getting CO2 out. Supports breathing, supports the whole circulatory system.
Can't live without him.
Nope. And physically, they're paired, but asymmetrical. Soft, spongy tissue. And the surface area is massive. Something like 70 square meters.
Wow, that much.
Yeah, like a tennis court folded up inside you, working nonstop. And they're constantly interacting with the heart, the diaphragm, the brainstem, blood vessels.
It's a whole system.
And it's fascinating how our breathing rhythm ties directly to our nervous system. Calm, deep breaths versus stressed, shallow ones.
You feel it immediately.
The notes also touch on their evolution from fish swim bladders, apparently, and how human lungs are optimized for endurance and, importantly, for speech.
Speech, right, needs breath control.
And anyone with asthma knows how quickly lung issues affect everything. Panic, fatigue.
Yeah, it's systemic. So if we zoom out a bit, the lungs aren't just mechanics. They're about rhythm, capacity, taking in life, that deep connection to existence.
Right.
They're expressive, but also regulatory, turning air into energy. How does this rich picture translate to Kenny?
Well, the notes point to some powerful cultural stuff. Breath itself means life, spirit, communication. Think prana in yoga, body and soul connection. And our language reflects it. Take a deep breath, catch your breath, something breathtaking.
Breathing room.
Exactly, breathing room. They're invisible most of the time, but when they fail, the impact is immediate, huge.
And undeniable.
And think about traditions. Breath work, prayer, chanting, meditation, all centered on the lungs and breath. Literature often links them to poetry, life force, vulnerability.
Okay, I see the threads. So what does this tell us about Kenny?
So what does this all mean for Kenny?
Well, Kenny seems to be the one who keeps things flowing, keeps the momentum, the structure, regulating the, let's say, emotional and strategic oxygen in whatever system he's in. Okay, like providing the essential air.
Exactly. He sustains others, keeps things clear and fair, just like lungs sustain life. And that link between breath and speech, that connects Kenny to truthful expression, decisive leadership, someone who speaks with conviction, grounded in fairness, using their full lung capacity, metaphorically.
That's a powerful image. Okay, now let's get really complex. Let's dive into the brain, specifically the temporal lobe.
The brain, right. This should be interesting.
It really is. The notes lay out its main jobs. First, auditory processing, hearing, recognizing sounds, voices, music, everything.
The sound center.
Yep. Then language comprehension. There's a key area, Wernicke's area, mostly on the left side.
Understanding words.
Exactly. And it's a huge hub for memory, long-term memory, episodic memory, the stories of your life, basically.
Wow, okay. Hearing, language, memory.
And more. Emotional regulation. It's tightly connected to the limbic system, the brain's emotional control center.
So it feels and thinks. Kind of, yeah. It's located on both sides of your brain, near the temples. Bilateral, but specialized. Left side more for language, right side more for tone, rhythm, nonverbal stuff.
Interesting distinction.
And it's constantly talking to other parts. The hippocampus for memory, the amygdala for emotions, the frontal lobe for planning, occipital for vision. It's a major networker.
A real communication hub.
And damage here.
Yeah.
Big problems. Aphasia, trouble with language. Auditory agnosia, can't recognize sounds. Amnesia.
Yeah, profound impacts. It's fascinating how the temporal lobe is the central place for making sense of everything, especially through sound and memory. It's like it's the brain's archivist and its translator, taking in data, finding patterns, storing experiences.
Yeah.
So with all these deep cognitive roles, how does Kenny embody this?
This is where the notes shift to the psychological, the symbolic, and it's really, really illuminating. Archetypically, think of the temporal lobe as the translator.
Or the storyteller.
Yes. Someone who doesn't just hear, but remembers, understands deeply. It acts like an emotional listener, an empath, an archivist of sound and meaning.
Holding the story.
Exactly. It's tied directly to your autobiographical memory, storing who you are through sound, through narrative, which in turn supports self-awareness.
Makes sense. What you remember shapes who you think you are.
Right. And culturally, we link it to music, voice, memory, left brain for language genius, right brain for musical talent, that kind of thing.
Those classic associations.
Its role in music melody, pitch, and storytelling, turning raw sensory data into narratives. It highlights its creative side too. And the philosophical takeaway the notes draw is pretty deep. What we hear becomes who we are.
Powerful.
So how do these incredibly complex functions reflect Kenny's character?
This fits Kenny perfectly. It speaks right to his ability to listen. Like really listen, to decode massive complexity, to hold people's stories with both logic and empathy.
Even though he's structured and justice-focused?
Exactly. Even with that strong structure and focus on justice, this temporal lobe connection shows his capacity for nuanced understanding. It really matches his drive to synthesize meaning, to connect the dots across systems and emotions. He gets the intricate layers.
Wow, okay. That adds a whole other dimension. So finally, the last piece of the puzzle. We go from the brain down to the micro level. The cell membrane.
The guardian of the cell.
The microscopic guardian, yeah.
Yeah.
Seems tiny, but it's fundamental. Scientifically, its main job is being a selective barrier.
The gatekeeper.
Totally.
Yeah.
Controlling what gets in, what stays out. It's the master of homeostasis, keeping the cell's internal environment stable.
Crucial balance.
It's also key for signal transduction, receiving messages from outside the cell, and cell recognition, knowing self from non-self, friend from foe.
Like the cell's ID system.
Yeah, and processes like endocytosis, exocytosis, basically how cells eat and excrete stuff, all managed by the membrane. Its structure, that phospholipid bilayer with proteins and stuff, universal to all living cells.
Foundation.
But with specialized roles, too, like in neurons or immune cells. And the notes point out when it malfunctions. Big trouble. Cystic fibrosis, autoimmune issues, cancer.
Shows how vital its integrity is.
But it also has amazing repair mechanisms. It's adaptive.
Okay, so if we zoom out again, the cell membrane defines the cell's identity, its interaction with the world. It's a boundary, yes, but an active, engaging one.
Not just a wall.
Exactly. It's regulating, protecting, connecting, foundational. So what does this tell us about Kenny? This seems really fundamental.
It does. And the symbolic and emotional links here are incredibly insightful. The membrane represents boundaries, discernment, personal space, identity, protection, but also permeability.
The balance again.
Right. Symbolically, it's the gatekeeper, the diplomat, the shield bearer in a larger system. Psychologically, it's a perfect parallel for our emotional boundaries.
How we manage vulnerability.
Exactly. How open versus how guarded we are. That discernment in relationships.
Makes total sense.
Creatively, you can see it as refrains in music, thresholds in dance, frames in art. Culturally, it's like the bouncer, the customs officer.
The threshold guardian in the hero's journey.
Yes, that's a great one. And the deep human truth it points to is, you are defined by what you let in and what you keep out.
Profound.
So what does this mean for Kenny specifically?
This connection, the cell membrane, honestly, this feels like perhaps the most Kenny of them all.
Really? How so?
Because like the membrane, Kenny is this master regulator of order, principle, fairness. He protects the core values of a system.
Guards the integrity.
Precisely. He allows productive exchange, allows growth, but fiercely rejects corruption, toxicity, anything that harms the core.
So he filters things out.
He knows exactly how to filter out the bad stuff while staying open to good ideas, to innovation. He's strong, yes, but permeable. Tough but wise. It's that perfect balance of protection and engagement.
Strong but permeable. Tough but wise. Wow. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. What does this all mean? We've taken this really unique deep dive into Kenny. Seeing him, not just as one thing, but this complex interplay. Discernment from the nose, vital expression from the lungs, empathetic processing from the temporal lobe, and these firm, smart boundaries from the cell membrane.
It really paints a much richer picture, doesn't it? Kenny's whole identity is illuminated by these distinct biological roles and their symbolic meanings.
They're interconnected.
Deeply interconnected. Each part we looked at adds a layer, contributing to this comprehensive understanding of his character. He's a sensor for truth, a regulator of momentum, a synthesizer of complexity, and a protector of integrity, all at once.
It's quite a framework. We hope this gives you listening a way to maybe reflect on your own inner Kennys, those precise, principled parts of yourself.
Or maybe just understand the complex people you meet with a new perspective, looking through this biological and symbolic lens.
Yeah.
And it leaves us with a really important question, I think.
It's that.
If our distinct physical parts, our noses, our lungs, our brain structures, our cell membranes, if they can so accurately symbolize and embody complex parts of our personality, like Kenny, what does that suggest about the other hidden maps within our own bodies? Maps that might be guiding our character, our interactions, just waiting there to be read.
That is a fascinating thought to end on. A whole inner landscape waiting to be explored.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.